selling the idea that Roach was winning in spots where he wasn't, and
it's some bullshit, man. I don't know what I gotta do.
Hey man, you gotta knock him out.
We're gonna go back to the drawing board. I don't accept this at all.
I think the best thing to do is move forward with an immediate rematch, and I would say on somewhat a level.
Your outcome of this fight, it was a good ass fight. I think Cruz pulled it out. I think Cruz pulled that out.
The drama surrounding Lamont Roach's draw against Isaac Pitbull Cruz didn't end when the final bell rang. It only intensified when the cameras stopped rolling and Gervonta Tank Davis decided to step into the conversation. What began as a tense but competitive fight exploded into a whirlwind of opinions, accusations, broken bones, bruised pride, and voices echoing from every corner of the boxing world.
that Pitbull was having less success than he was. And so that was a bit distracting for me.
Playing field. I don't know why they think that the judge or the ref was on my side when I got hit level.
Look, he showed us a look. We got the boxing and the angles and shit. I ain't seen that before.
Gervonta Davis has fired at Lamont Roach after...
And at the center of all of it stood Roach, battered, exhausted, and carrying a secret injury that would only come to light hours later. An injury that changed the way people looked at the fight, changed the way fans argued about the decision, and changed the way Tank Davis chose to fire his first verbal shot. Tank didn't hesitate. In his usual blunt, unapologetic fashion, he laid out publicly. Roach had no chance of winning that fight, broken hand or not. He dismissed Roach's entire game plan as flawed from the start, calling the performance ineffective, directionless, and nowhere near enough to take rounds off a fighter like Cruz.
I did thought I wanted a close fight, and I can
So, you know, I'm not complaining. It was a hell of a fight, but it's...
Cruz. To Tank, the draw wasn't just surprising, it was a robbery. Cruz got robbed. We all saw it, he insisted, pointing sharply to the knockdown, to the pressure, to the moments where Roach seemed swallowed in Cruz's forward momentum. And Tank didn't stop there. With the kind of swagger that only someone unbeaten at the top of the sport can carry, he jabbed again, asking whether Roach had changed anything up in the ring, whether his style evolved, whether he did anything that would threaten the elite. The message was loud, dismissive, and sharp-edged. Tank wasn't impressed. But the moment he spoke, the boxing universe split into factions. Because while Tank was confident, commanding, and defiant, Shakur Stevenson was watching the same fight with completely different eyes. He didn't see domination from Cruz. He didn't see chaos from Roach. What he saw was a man who boxed smart, who controlled pockets of the fight, who outmaneuvered Cruz in enough rounds to earn the victory. Shakur has never been one to throw casual opinions into the wind. His style, his reputation, and his precision make his words carry more weight. And as soon as he typed, I thought Lamont pulled that off too. The conversation changed shape. Even Ryan Garcia jumped in, echoing the same sentiment. He felt Roach edged it, maybe by 1 or 2 rounds, though he wasn't angry at the draw. The more reactions came in, the more fans realized the fight wasn't as clear-cut as Tank made it sound. Roach had moments where he punctured Cruz's pressure with clean counters, where he made him reset, where the rhythm shifted into something more technical than violent. That nuance, the detail that often disappears beneath the roar of a crowd, was what people like Shakur and Ryan were pointing out. But none of their voices mattered more than Roach's own. And when he stepped into the post-fight press conference, the wear of the night sat heavy on him. His shoulders were tight, his face was drained, and though he held his composure, the disappointment in his eyes said everything that words didn't. It was supposed to be his night, the statement fight, the momentum builder, the moment where he silenced doubts and put himself firmly into the conversation as one of the most technical and disciplined fighters at 140. Instead, he walked away with something familiar, something he never wanted to see again, another draw. And as he sat under the lights, the emotion filtered through his voice. He believed he controlled the fight, especially after surviving the knockdown in round 3, the first of his entire career. A moment that could have derailed him, could have shattered his discipline, but instead pulled something tougher out of him. He came back sharper, calmer, and more precise, tightening his movement and slipping Cruz's pressure with a kind of quiet mastery. He felt he earned the right to leave the ring with his hand raised. What he didn't expect, though, was the second battle he'd discover hours later in a hospital room. A broken hand, wrapped tightly in bandages, swollen, throbbed through with a pain he hid from the public during the fight. It wasn't until he posted the hospital video that people realized he had boxed 7+ rounds with one functioning hand. Mike Coppinger highlighted the same thing, that Roach fought through damage that would have ended the night for many fighters, yet still made the bout competitive, tactical, and close enough to earn a draw. And that was when the narrative shifted again. Because the truth is, the fight was never as one-sided as Tank suggested. Cruz came forward relentlessly. Yes. He punched in volume. Yes. But Roach had something Cruz didn't. Adjustments. After the knockdown, after his hand went, after the momentum briefly slipped away, he recalibrated. He tightened his movement, disrupted Cruz's steps, and found ways to land precise counters that forced the pressure to slow. He didn't dominate, but he controlled key moments, the moments that matter to judges when rounds swing narrowly. That pull and reset rhythm frustrated Cruz, who relies on overwhelming energy rather than finesse. Still, the debate was unavoidable. People argued over numbers, over punch stats, over slow-motion breakdowns and angles replayed again and again. Was it the knockdown that tilted people emotionally toward Cruz? Was it the crowd in San Antonio roaring every time Cruz simply stepped forward? Was it the point deduction against Cruz, the call that some fans believe saved Roach from losing outright? Everywhere Roach looked online, he saw a version of events that didn't match what he felt in the ring. And as critics accused him of excuses, dissecting every mention of his injury and every comment about officiating, his frustration only grew. But beyond the debate, beyond the emotion, Roach knew one thing. He couldn't stay stuck in this cycle. He couldn't keep fighting both his opponent and the judges. 2 draws in a row, both against big names, both in fights where he believed he deserved the win. It created a strange limbo. He was too good to be ignored, too skilled to be written off, yet too unlucky to move forward with full momentum. And that's why he repeated it again and again. All he wanted was a level playing field. That request came back when people brought up Tank Davis again. Fans were eager for a second fight. The storyline practically wrote itself. But Roach didn't lean into it. He didn't beg for a rematch. He didn't chase the name. Instead, he made something clear. If the rematch ever happens, it will happen on fair terms, with guarantees, with structure, with real protection against the chaos that happened before. He wasn't tying his career to Tank's unpredictability or allowing himself to be boxed into a corner where one messy negotiation could derail everything he built. His legacy, he said, was not tied to Tank Davis. The problem was the boxing public didn't want nuance. Fans wanted simplicity. Either he won or he lost. Either he dominated or he was exposed. And the internet is quick, too quick, to label pain as excuses, context as complaints, and explanation as weakness. The broken hand? Not everyone believed it mattered. The low blows? Fans said they were part of the sport. The officiating issues? Dismissed as noise. But Roach wasn't pointing fingers to avoid blame. He was explaining how the night unfolded from inside the ring, a place viewers cannot feel and cannot fully understand through a television screen. What fans didn't see was the technical chess inside the chaos. What they didn't hear was the thud of every shot landing on the same injured spot. What they didn't measure was the stability it takes for a fighter to recalibrate an entire game plan mid-fight while his hand burns with every jab. And they certainly didn't feel the moment when he realized he couldn't rely on his left hand the way he intended, that for the rest of the fight he would have to move smarter, counter sharper, and survive pressure without the comfort of full power. That kind of shift isn't an excuse. It's a calculation that defines whether a fighter stays in the fight or fades out of it. But online critics operate differently. They twist narratives. They shape stories around their preferred outcomes. And as the days passed, many pushed the idea that Roach wasn't elite, that he didn't shine under pressure, that he explained too much after the fight instead of owning the draw. It didn't matter that elite technical fighters often neutralize pressure rather than overpowering it. It didn't matter that Roach made Cruz reset repeatedly, something most Cruz opponents failed to do. What mattered to critics was the simplicity of the storyline they wanted to believe. And that is the uphill road Roach now stands on. Still, for all the noise, for all the opinions, for all the critiques, something bigger has shifted in his favor. Exposure, momentum, recognition. 2 draws against 2 big names didn't destroy his career, they expanded it. His engagement is up. His profile is rising. Fans who never watched him before now argue intensely about him. Even disagreements boost his visibility. In boxing, attention is currency. And right now, Roach has more of it than ever. That's why a Cruz versus Roach rematch feels almost inevitable. Both fighters want it. Both camps acknowledge the closeness. And now that the broken hand is public knowledge, the story becomes richer, deeper, more layered. What happens when Roach comes in healthy? What happens if he starts faster? What happens if a fight doesn't take place in Cruz's backyard? These are the questions that make rematches sell. And yet, hovering above it all, Tank Davis remains a loud echo, a reminder of a past fight, a future possibility, and an unresolved rivalry that fans refuse to let go. But Roach refuses to be defined by it. He refuses to be the guy from the Tank fight. He refuses to chase an opportunity that doesn't stabilize his path. And he refuses to tie his legacy to another fighter's unpredictable decisions. For now, his focus is simple: clarity, fairness, and progress. He wants wins that build legacy, not conversations that circle endlessly. He wants clean scorecards, decisive rounds, and fights without chaos. Because he knows he is running out of time to sit in the almost category. The division is dangerous, the fighters are bigger, the opportunities are fleeting, and every moment matters. Now the question isn't who was right, who stole rounds, or who fans believe edged it. The question is what comes next. A rematch? A new opponent? A collision with someone climbing the rankings? Or the long-awaited continuation of a rivalry with Tank? Whatever the answer becomes, one thing is certain. Lamont Roach is no longer a quiet name tucked behind bigger stars. He is a conversation, a debate, a headline, a story still unfolding.